Throughout the ages, tales and legends of the existence of an ancient race of giants have permeated nearly every culture of Earth. Many of them telling of a race of giant red-headed beings who would travel from the farthest parts of the northern hemisphere into the dwellings of man, often noted as arriving in large reed boats. Arriving with an eye to invade, either to attack, imprison, or even to catch and eat the locals and their children. They tell of battles and the targeting of this race for this very reason, with many of the legends telling of these beings hunted to near extinction, with the most well-known and documented of such an event occurring within the Lovelock Cave within Nevada. Not only were the remains of these giants reportedly recovered and subsequently covered up after they were trapped and killed by fire within the cave system itself, but many unusual artifacts would also be subsequently recovered from within the cave system. Once made long ago by these very beings, countless delicately created sculptures and decoys for hunting. Indeed, once built out of the same materials long claimed as having been utilized to create their boats. With further corroboration of the legitimacy of these tales, the physical evidence of their past existence, such as a suited handprint, which can be found still present within the cave. Yet what if, instead of being wiped out, these beings fled to other parts of the world, far away from these hunting tribes, in particular, the mysterious and often claimed cursed landscapes of Afghanistan? What if these beings, the true purpose for the invasion itself? It is indeed a theory which has often been postulated upon, and when one becomes aware of the following tale purportedly leaked by special forces whilst in the country itself, you may begin to wonder the same thing. Now known as the Giant of Kandahar, he would initially be responsible for the disappearance of an entire platoon of men before a team of special forces soldiers were ordered to encounter the being and take it out. Again, making contact within a cave system, it was said to have been some 13 foot tall, with bright red hair, 6 fingers, and 2 rows of teeth. An undeniable match to the countless other witness testimonies made and shared across the Americas and many other areas of the planet throughout history. After killing one of the men by spear, the soldiers would dispatch the giant with a volley of gunfire, then helping to transport the creature onto a cargo helicopter, only for it never to be seen again, and the entire event covered up. Upon request for a statement, the Pentagon would completely deny any knowledge of such a creature, claiming such an event having never taken place. Writer Nick Orton has collected countless stories from the many military men who have come back from the mountains of Afghanistan with horrifying tales of the unexplained in his book Tales from the Grid Square, derived from within his Havoc journal. He would state, quote, "During the war, many members of the U.S. military and coalition would encounter activity that would defy normality: UFOs, cryptids, and ghosts. Many bore witness to the immense and immeasurable mystery of Afghanistan. What they witnessed is often kept close to the heart, be it terrifying or truly something incredible," he continues. There are many accounts of soldiers who have reported seeing massive humanoids that tower over the normal man in Afghanistan. These stories are out there, albeit hard to come by. Not many are going to come forward and claim they saw a massive man running around in the mountains of Afghanistan. But perhaps there is something truly massive out there." End quote. There have been many rumored disappearances surrounding such discoveries reported within the last few decades alone, with many now convinced that something of this nature is indeed being covered up, and not just within the Afghanistan mountains, but possibly a lot closer to home. Thus, what exactly is being hidden remains a mystery, although they could indeed one day be revealed to have been hiding these very beings all along. What do you think about the tale of the Giant of Kandahar, fantastic fiction, or something else entirely? It is a story, mystery, and indeed possible cover-up, which I found highly compelling. Francis Bacon, the famed English philosopher, once stated, "History is like the planks of a shipwreck. More has been lost than has been saved." Whilst Frederick Soddy, one of the fathers of modern atomic theory and Nobel Peace Prize winner, in his work Interpretation of Radium, believed that there had once existed upon our planet a forgotten race of men who had attained not only to the knowledge we have so recently won, but also to the power that is not yet ours, believing that there have been civilizations in the past that were familiar with atomic energy, and that by misusing it, they were totally destroyed. The very atoms of this prehistoric civilization disintegrated. Although as the years have gone by and more mere assumptions once made, now built upon and believed as fact, the real truth surrounding the past has seemingly become ever more hostile to certain individuals' points of view, with our next discovery, and indeed the story attached, of no exception. Told by a rather obnoxious and mocking lecturer from the University of Minnesota named P. Myers, whom, along with complaining about the popularity of certain YouTube channels, spends most of the article complaining about his perceived absurdity of research into lost history, in particular the possible proof of prehistoric human activity. In the midst of his griping, he tells of an encounter he had with an individual known as Ed Conrad around 25 years earlier. Ed would take several artifacts to him to examine for the existence of bone, many of which apparently producing scans, giving no evidence of past organic life. Although there could be a darker motive at play here, as one will soon see. The jewel of Ed's collection, a massive 300-pound block of anthracite, within which an enormous ancient giant skull still found embedded within the block. Additionally, and as one could predict, it wouldn't be long before none other than the Smithsonian Institute would arrive in the fray, to also graciously volunteer their services in exploring the legitimacy of Ed's finds. This predictably is where the story and any further information on the finds, or even Ed Conrad himself, would end. With Ed simply vanishing from the web, subsequently removing his research, and much of the information surrounding his finds from the internet, a detail Myers also seems eager to share with his audience. Indeed, with his clear grimacing over such content's popularity, to me it seemingly comes across as nothing more than a hit piece. I will leave the link in the description. Before Ed would make his suspicious exit, however, he would make one final entry onto the internet regarding his efforts of getting them properly examined. One, fortunately, still floating around in the archives. One which surrounds the Smithsonian's initial investigation and a final effort from Ed himself. And as one would expect, it details how, after merely looking at his artifacts, they would state that they were not human bones. This declaration, he would note, absent any scientific analysis. What's more, Ed Conrad would then have them examined by independent persons and submitting them to several different tests, including high-powered magnification. According to these investigations, in complete contradiction to the funded academic Myers, stated, quote, "The Haversian canals present in all bone material, even fossilized ones, can be seen in the specimens. Yet, alas, any links to this data upon Ed's websites is no longer in existence, as if whoever purchased the artifacts wanted this proof gone, hidden from the wider world." What happened to Ed Conrad, or indeed his mysterious artifacts? Was the Smithsonian Institute involved in covering up yet more giant bones? It is a mystery